Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio and continuing this journey of light and knowledge. And in this particular segment of Points of Light Radio, we're going to be going rather deep into that light. And we will be studying the independent order of the Knights of the Temple. Right? Now, to give you some insight, I'll just start by saying it's very hard to describe this organization. The only thing I can really tell you is that the Independent Order of the Knights of the Temple is an order that does its initiations, rituals, and meetings digitally. Okay, but my guest for this segment of Points of Light Radio is Sir Knight Shear. He's a member of the Independent Order of the Knights of the Temple. I've spoken to him before. He says some rather deep things, and that's something I want to finish this introduction by saying. Okay, some things you're going to hear are very deep. Okay, in the October 28th segment of Points of Light Radio, I fellowshipped with a member of the Lily and the Eagle. In the February 14th segment of Points of Light Radio, I fellowshipped with the Martinist Order of the Golden and Rosy Cross. Okay. And you heard some deep things there. So I think you'll understand, okay, that when we're covering organizations like this, you need to keep an open mind. Okay. You really do. Okay. I'm really excited about this, and it's very intriguing as you listen to it. Okay. Some things are spiritually discerned. So I want you to keep an open mind, use your spiritual discernment, and let's go speak to Sir Knight Shear. But as I always ask you, are you still searching for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then just trim your lamp and follow me. Sir Knight Shear, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Thank you.
Yeah, now you're a member of the Independent Order of the Knights of the Temple.
Yes.
First of all, why don't you tell my listeners and viewers about yourself?
Well, I'm 62 years old, and I've been on a spiritual path since a near-death experience when I was 13. It's been building over years. I had the same thing where, when I went to church, nothing sounded right. It didn't seem right. And I've been on a spiritual path ever since. In and out of different organizations, looking them over, got some readings and indicated that I needed to get back into the Knights Templar, and that's where I went back into because I've done this in more than one incarnation.
Readings, as in what?
Spiritual readings from reverends and priests that have contacted me over the years and who have given me messages, angelic messages. Okay.
And so where did you go to meet these individuals?
Oh, they contacted me. They sought me out and they found me. Most of them were online. I talked to them on the phone. There's been two of them I have met in person. One of them is down here in Georgia. One of them is now in heaven because she passed. But a mutual friend and I both have talked to her extensively before her passing. And she was a reverend as well.
Now, so you are an online organization.
Yes.
How were you united then? If
it was through a ceremony, because we're in a digital world, things you have to loosen up on some old religions or old rituals. And my GM We had basically a Zoom type ceremony where I was knighted by him. And but that's not the first time I was knighted. I go back into my incarnations, and then I was recently knighted in my training as a keeper of the flame by Saint Germain.
Keeper of the Flame. What's that mean?
That is a part of a spiritual path. It's a it's a program I've been in for 2 years, over 2 years now, and you're learning about the violet flame. It's part of the ascension because Saint Germain and the violet flame is part of the ascension that's happening. They are actually the lead of it. That's the belief system that we have with this.
Okay, now what are the qualifications for membership in the independent order?
The only requirement is for you to have a calling from God. There are a lot of people who have interest in it and want to learn about it, and because they want to learn, they become knights in training. If they don't necessarily have a calling, I send them to a specific type of site because we have four other orders that are associated with us through the international council that we're all connected to. And depending on where the person's interest is depends on where they go. Now, to become a knight, a true knight, you have to have a calling from God, and then you have to go through the rituals of set forth by the Grand Master of the order.
So a calling from God. Now you talked about how you got your calling.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay, there's many ways to receive a call from what you're telling me. So someone might come up to you and just tell you, but could these callings come not through, shall we say, come through? Like, prime example, we've talked before. Paul got his calling. The Apostle Paul got the Macedonian call to go preach in Macedonia in a dream.
Right.
So, are you willing to accept the fact that not everybody gets their calling the same way?
Oh yes, yes. Like it isn't how they get it; it's the fact that it is a calling versus I just got an interest in it. You can tell if somebody has a calling, a burning desire versus I just want to wear the pretty white outfit. Put a mark on their sleeve as something accomplished. Um,
So
because
if someone come walking up to you right now and said, "You know what? I had a dream last night, or I heard a voice last night when I was praying," you wouldn't necessarily just go with that. You'd probably want a little more.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
go into a lot of questions, and I get redundant questions asked the same a different way, the same thing different way, and you get the same answer. Then you know what's going on. You know, there's a lot of safeguards because I'm the prior of the order, and I'm one of the last ones in line as far as accepting the men because the Grand Master is above me. Um, and there's others that get in there before I even, but the ones I've talked to, they're generally interested in becoming a knight, and I lead them because I have this, I don't know, magnetic ability to bring people, and I publish a lot of literature about being a knight and the fact that I was a knight in a prior incarnation, and that brings out a lot of interest, especially being a spiritual, esoteric type organization that we are.
How do most people receive their call then? How do you find most people receive them?
A lot of them say it's in a dream or they whisper because I am I hear voices. Been hearing voices since my near death. Okay, I hear somebody talking to me. They tell me things. Eventually I learned that it was spirit, not something evil when you were a child. But
So you're not schizophrenic.
No, no, not
Nothing
not.
like that. Okay, doesn't want to get that out of the way. So I'm not. No,
The jury might be out on that, but I'm sane, I think.
because like
But
down through the Bible, I mean, God did actually talk to people like Moses, Samuel, things like that. So I'm trying to say, people have to keep an open mind about this stuff. They really do.
well, I talk to God on a daily basis. I go through a 45-minute morning ritual of speaking, and I get messages. I've even had a vision from Mother Mary. Um, and everyone's different. It depends on your experiences and your faith, and how willing you are to acknowledge the truth. Because a lot of people get a vision and get a message, but they're too scared to or freaked out about it because they think it's demon. But you can
Yeah.
tell an evil spirit versus a good spirit, because you've ever been by a prison, not even know it, but you could feel it. You feel energies, because that's part of the whole spiritual path, and then the alchemy and the knights
Well, I
and
did hear a pastor say, sorry, I did hear a pastor say, we're supposed to live by faith, not feelings, but God did give you feelings for a reason. If like the Bible
oh yeah,
says that if your heart offends you, you know you're sinning. If in your heart of hearts you believe you're doing something wrong, you're probably doing something wrong. So
yes.
yeah, we have to learn to be a Christian, or someone who's spiritual needs to be open to the feelings and to those messages they might be getting from God.
But yeah, yes, because we don't believe to squash or control your feeling. You keep your feelings under control, but you still experience them. The experience of joy and love, the ultimate experience of bliss. And then you can feel the negative. That's how you can tell if somebody is truly on the path, is by their actions and their words. As well,
Exactly. By
and
their fruits you know them.
right, because and if you talk to them long enough, you'll understand. And if you were to check some of the people that I've talked to, it takes me a few weeks for me to tell them that they're on the right path, because they got to show me, not just tell me. They
Hmm.
got to repeatedly show me that they're on the path with the army of God.
Yeah, so that the fruits of the spirit, love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentle. And if you're not living by that, and you can see it in their life and their actions and words, and yeah,
Oh yeah, you
every
can see that on their pages. Look at some of these pages. You'll see some people that are smiling, some people that are just always frowning. And the
mhm,
ones that are smiling are on a spiritual path. I can almost guarantee it, because they're happy.
mhm. Now, do the Independent Order of the Knights of the Temple have a degree system? And if so, how many?
Well, you have rankings. You have your soldiers, and there's like six rankings in within the soldiers. And then you've got your knights, and then you got your officers, and each one requires training, schooling, and types of initiation, and that's all done by the Grand Master or someone he appoints to do so.
Online?
On Online, yes. Um, we are an international organization, and of course, we're fighting in a different battlefield, and it's all digital. And when you're dealing with that and the inability to travel, you have to accept certain conditions. It's a
What
bit,
are you
it's
fighting?
different, huh?
What are you fighting? You said you're fighting. What are you fighting?
Oh, the evil forces. Just look on Facebook. All the misinformation and the negative, and
So, what
we're
you're saying is scripturally, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers
yes.
of the darkness of the world, things like that.
Yes, it's gone totally from a because that's what I've been preaching lately, is to sheathe our knives and become our monks, the monks that we were once upon a time, because that's what we need. We need a spiritual. We don't need anger and aggravation and aggression. We need love and peace out there, and that's what's going to win everything. Not this.
Now, are you getting much interest?
Yeah. We're getting right now. We have 1,000 people that are in the website, but it's a website. Not necessarily every one of them are going to be a knight or want to be a
Who's
knight.
responding then?
Huh?
Who's responding? Who are you accepting? Men, women?
Everything. Anyone who has a calling. I
Okay.
don't. It matters not to me.
Okay.
And in my researching and in Freddie Silva's researching, women were in the Templars. Were the first in Templars before any other organization. Um, and they were treated just like men. And actually, I'm pro female rule anyways because they rule with their heart and soul, where men rule with their ego.
Yeah, I agree. And what is the structure of your meetings? Now, you say you're having these meetings online. Does someone facilitate them? Who facilitates? Do you have officers that have certain places in the meetings and things like that?
Well, yeah, we have the officers in place. A lot of it goes on to the international because the our website is like a stepping stone to get you to the international, which gets you to a lot of other resources that are esoteric and ascension in the ascension pathways. Um, we we communicate and I write up messages, and then they what they do is they distribute these messages and add to it amongst all these other websites. So it's a distribution, and we're trying to reintroduce the fact that the history of the Knights Templar is completely changed with all the new information.
Oh, of
And
course.
then it goes back a whole lot further, and there's a lot more to it, and goes into the Holy Grail and all that good stuff too.
You think it goes back even further than what history tells you? There were
Oh, I know it does. I mean,
okay.
well, okay, Freddie. So I like Freddie Silva's book.
Mhm.
I mean, there was land given to the Knights Templar in Portacali was when it was called back then in 1095.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and there was documentation that he's got. I got the book, and then okay, now let's just think that 1118 was just a coming out date.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The organization had its infrastructure was all done because within 4 years of that date in 1122, they were buying property, open, creating banks, and this is all the old history saying this. In 4 years, they started building that industry or that empire, and in 10 years, they were a world power. That seems
Wow.
a far stretch in 10 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there was, the Hospitalators, I think that's how they pronounce that.
Yeah.
They were the ones that were guarding the Holy Lands, and then the Templars came in and helped them later on. They were there before the Templars. And then, because it goes back to, I'm doing studies on the Merovingian family who sponsored the Prior of Sion, and that's where the Templars creation and started,
Hmm.
and that's where it's real 1 kilometer or something like that from Temple Mound, and it's where they found all the relics. And then they got them out of there, and then the 1307 disaster happened, and we took everything out of Europe.
See, yeah. Well, what do you feel that the Order of the Knights of the Temple could do for those thinking of joining?
Guide them in the right direction of where they need to go based on what they're seeking. If they're seeking knighthood, then they need to go through a specific, like our international council. If they are just they just want to learn about them, there's all sorts of different ones out there. If they're specifically Catholic and don't want to do anything but Catholic, they got to, I'm on like 90 some Facebook pages. I'm a member of one order, my order, but I'm on all these other ones that I post on them. So this is where I help guide them to where they want to go.
So could a
So
Muslim or a Hindu or
of course,
so they can be part of it. Okay, good.
yes, any religion. It's the standard of the Knights Templar is we accept all religions, we protect all religions, but yet we are ruled by no religions. We are ruled by God's law.
Okay, so you basically, what you're saying is it's deepened your faith, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that it could basically deepen a person's journey of faith or their whole spiritual experience?
It can if they put the effort into it, because it is a self-propelled path. All spiritual paths are self-propelled. It's all in what you put into it. If you don't put in the research and you just want to be spoon fed, you're gonna be like the sheeple and with the head in it. But if you put in the effort, then you're gonna get a great experience out of it. I've had a great experience, and it's only getting better. I'm getting signs from the universe daily of things of better things to come.
Well, on that note, Sir Knight Shear, thank you so much for your time today. All the best to you and the order, and shalom, sir.
Namaste, my friend.
Sir Knight Shear, brothers and sisters. Wasn't that interesting? Every now and then, it's great to cover. I love the traditional fraternal organizations, but every now and then, it's wonderful to cover these deeper organizations. Now, I hope you kept an open mind like I asked you to, because I'm going to say some things here that are going to make some people uncomfortable. One of them is that secularism, in addition to kind of creeping into our churches and becoming very pervasive there, secularism has also found its way into fraternalism and into the service clubs and so on. And that has made many people from our faith communities or our more spiritual aspirants rather uncomfortable, and in many cases has made them feel marginalized. But here is an organization that welcomes the spiritual. I love it. That's one thing I love about it. It's welcoming the more spiritual people, the people that are really looking for some depth, right? Places to go with their spiritual side. And I also love the fact that it's digital. This gives it almost unlimited room to grow, right? But it also keeps it modern. And sometimes these digital organizations are all that people have time for. They really want to get involved, but they don't have time to go out. They don't, you know what I mean? Sometimes the online community is the third space for people, right? And that's something I think it comes back to something I've asked you before, the listener and viewer here on Points of Light Radio. What is it that you were searching for? Okay? Right. What is it that you're searching for? Do you really have time to go out to meetings, or could you make a minute or two here, an hour here, there, online, right? Right. And what else is it that you might be looking for, right? If you want someplace to, shall we say, have your soul fed, right? Here are a group of individuals that are going to bring you in, and yes, they are going to vet you, but they're not going to judge you, okay? As I said before, there's things that are spiritually discerned. Some truths are spiritually discerned. You have to leave room for that, right? You really do, okay? Right? And if you notice that here, he talked about his callings and things like some people do have a calling on their life. I believe most people do, in fact, right? How you receive that and where you go with that is up to you, okay? But that's all I have time for here on Points of Light Radio. But before I go, as usual, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. You can follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, it's been a pleasure meeting with you here today and fellowshipping with you and my guest. But until we meet again,